When a woman pulls away, the biggest mistake is reacting instantly from emotion. That first reaction, those first few seconds, hold more weight than people realize. Most individuals panic because distance triggers the fear of loss, and that fear pushes them into impulsive behavior. They send long messages, demand explanations, or attempt to fix something they don't even understand yet. But that response isn't strength, it's emotional leakage. The truth is, the pause you take before responding is not silence, it's strategy. It's psychological self-regulation in real time. When you pause, even for a moment, you shift from reaction to intention. You give yourself space to examine what's happening inside you instead of projecting it onto her. You begin to see the situation with clearer eyes, without the fog of fear distorting your judgment. This pause protects your dignity, your emotional power, and your ability to lead the dynamic, not be dragged by it. And here's the deeper truth. People trust what is consistent, not what is chaotic. The pause is what ensures you're speaking from stability, not insecurity. In that space between stimulus and response, you find your sovereignty. You remind yourself that your value doesn't decrease just because someone temporarily distances themselves. You detach your identity from the moment so you can understand it, not react to it. And when you finally do respond, your energy carries composure, not confusion. She feels that difference immediately. The pause communicates something words never can, that your emotional center cannot be shaken by temporary distance. This small act of discipline becomes the foundation of respect. It teaches the other person that you don't collapse under pressure. And when someone sees that you can hold your ground, they naturally move closer. Pause first, act later. Control the moment before the moment controls you. When distance appears, most people don't fear the space itself. They fear what their mind creates inside that space. The moment a woman pulls back, the mind fills the silence with doubts, assumptions, and imagined scenarios. Suddenly, the space feels like a threat instead of what it actually is, an invitation to reflect, regain clarity, and recalibrate your energy. The real enemy isn't the gap between you. It's the insecurity that rushes in to fill that gap when you don't manage your inner world. Insecurity pushes you to act prematurely. It whispers that you're losing control, that you must do something, anything to restore connection, and that's where people sabotage the dynamic. They text too quickly, over-explain, question their worth, or try to win her back. With intensity rather than intention, but here's the deeper truth. The moment your actions are driven by fear, you communicate that your emotional stability is negotiable, and nothing repels connection faster than instability disguised as affection. Space, on the other hand, is not a punishment. It's neutrality. It's a moment where energies reset, where clarity rises, where emotional equilibrium can return. When you respect space instead of fighting it, you show maturity. You show that your center is internal, not dependent on constant reassurance, and this shift in behavior changes everything. She doesn't feel pressured, cornered, or overwhelmed. Instead, she senses that your presence is grounded, not grasping, inviting, not demanding. Embracing space demonstrates confidence on a psychological level. It says, I trust myself, I trust the connection, and I trust that what is meant to align will align without force. That level of restraint becomes magnetic because it represents emotional intelligence that is rare and deeply respected. Space doesn't destroy connections, fear does. Master the space and you master the moment. Most people make the mistake of obsessing over the other person's attention, as if connection is something that can be chased, negotiated, or forced back into existence. But attention is never the problem. Attention is a symptom. What truly matters, the thing that determines the entire dynamic, is the energy you bring into the space. When your internal state is chaotic, anxious, or emotionally scattered, it leaks into everything you say and do. Even silence carries tension when your energy is off, and the more you attempt to control someone else's focus, the more you reveal that you've lost control of your own center. But when you redirect your focus inward, something powerful happens. You stop trying to manipulate the external world and begin regulating the internal one. You start holding yourself with more intention, your thoughts, your posture, your tone, your decisions. And that shift doesn't just stay inside you, it radiates outward in a way the other person can feel, even without words. People respond far more to the emotional climate you create than to the statements you make. When your energy becomes grounded, calm, and contained, you naturally draw others toward you. It's not seduction, it's alignment. People gravitate toward emotional stability because it provides a sense of safety. They feel the difference between someone who needs attention to feel whole and someone who feels whole regardless of attention. The first drains them, the second intrigues them. You don't reclaim connection by demanding it. You reclaim it by embodying the kind of presence that invites it. And when you carry yourself with that level of emotional discipline, you don't have to chase anything. Your energy does the work for you. Control your energy and attention returns on its own. When a woman pulls away, many people instinctively believe that words will fix everything. They think the right sentence, the perfect explanation, or a carefully crafted message will magically restore the connection. But relationships don't respond to verbal persuasion. They respond to emotional truth. What someone feels when they're in your presence, or even thinking about you, matters far more than anything you attempt to articulate. Emotional stability isn't something you can talk your way into. It's something you embody, and embodiment is what creates real impact. When your emotions are unsettled, it doesn't matter how carefully you choose your words, the instability behind them will still be felt. The energy underneath the message always speaks louder than the message itself. You can say, "I'm calm," but if your tone, timing, or intensity betrays pressure or fear, she will sense it. People are wired to detect emotional cues long before they process language. They don't respond to what you say, they respond to the state you are in while saying it. But when you show emotional stability, it creates a completely different experience. Stability communicates that you are not dependent on external validation to feel secure. It communicates maturity, depth, and self-respect. It tells the other person, without you needing to spell it out, that you can hold yourself together even when the situation feels uncertain. And this creates a grounded, safe emotional environment. Something everyone gravitates toward, consciously or unconsciously. The most attractive presence is one that doesn't waver under pressure. When your emotional state remains steady, you shift the entire dynamic. You no longer seek reassurance, you provide it. You no longer chase harmony, you create it from within. Emotional stability isn't spoken, it's sensed. Become the calm that pulls her back. Every moment of distance is a moment of teaching, whether you realize it or not. When a woman pulls away, she isn't just observing what you say, she's observing who you become. Your reaction becomes a silent lesson about how you expect to be treated, what you will tolerate, and where your boundaries actually stand. People don't learn your standards from your speeches, they learn them from your behavior under pressure, and the way you show up in that moment often defines the future of the connection more than anything you've done before. If your response is to plead, chase, or over-explain, you unintentionally communicate that your boundaries collapse the moment discomfort appears. You teach her that emotional distance is a way to gain control over you, because you immediately move into pursuit mode. Not out of confidence, but out of fear. That dynamic never leads to respect. It leads to imbalance, where one person's withdrawal becomes the other person's panic, and once that pattern forms, it's hard to break. But when your behavior reflects consistency and self-respect, even when you're unsure or hurting, the message is entirely different. You demonstrate that your value is not contingent on closeness, attention, or immediate resolution. You show that you are willing to engage, but not willing to abandon your center to do so. That steadiness becomes a boundary in itself, quiet, firm, and deeply felt. This kind of response teaches her something powerful, that you will meet effort with effort, respect with respect, and distance with calm, not chaos. It shows that while you are open to connection, you are not dependent on it. And that balance is what reestablishes trust. Your reaction is always a message. Make sure the message speaks to your worth, not your fear. Let your behavior teach the respect your words could never demand. There's a moment in every relationship where you have to decide who you're becoming, not just who you're trying to keep. When a woman pulls away, most people become smaller. They shrink into fear, into doubt, into overthinking. They lose themselves in the effort to pull her back. But real attraction, real connection, real respect, it all comes from expansion, not contraction. You don't win someone back by collapsing around them. You win them back by growing into someone they don't want to lose. Becoming that person has nothing to do with perfection. It has everything to do with alignment. Aligning with your confidence, your purpose, your values, your emotional strength. When distance shows up, it's not the time to obsess over her behavior. It's the time to elevate your own. This is where you invest in yourself with the same intensity you once invested in the relationship. You redirect your focus toward your growth, your stability, your inner world, because the more you rise, the more magnetic your presence becomes. People gravitate toward those who are in motion, those who are growing, evolving, deepening their lives. When you expand your world, you create emotional gravity. You become someone who doesn't chase love, but attracts it through who you are and how you carry yourself. You send the message not through speeches but through your lifestyle that closeness with you is a privilege, not an obligation. And here's the psychological truth. When you stop fearing loss, you stop creating the behaviors that cause it. When you embody strength instead of seeking reassurance, you shift the entire dynamic. She doesn't return because you asked her to. She returns because your evolution makes her feel something she didn't feel before. Security, admiration, curiosity, and respect. Grow into the version of yourself that silence cannot diminish. Become the person whose presence makes distance irrelevant.